So right away, I made that mental shift and like, I could do this.
Right.
And it set me off on a journey of self-discovery and personal interest. And
Welcome to the Shan and Tam Show.
Welcome again, Shan and Tam fam. Listen, we are still in this pandemic. As you see, Tam and I are still in two different spaces, but you know what? We're pushing through, we're giving God thanks, and we're not being discouraged.
Yes.
We have an exciting individual to share with you today, Anthony Plummer. He is a go-getter, a businessman. He is an educator, and we just want to share him with you. So welcome, Anthony.
So Anthony, welcome. We're so happy to have you here with us this evening. And as we do with all our guests, we want to start by hearing just a little bit about you, where you're from, your early years in life. Tell us that story.
Before I start, thank you again, Shan and Tam, for really inviting me to your space. I'm really thankful for being here and to really share my story and to share my journey. I'm a Jamaican by birth. I'm a proud Jamaican. And I lived in Jamaica for the most part of my life. And I migrated here to Canada, Toronto, back in 2000.
Okay.
A good friend of mine and we were basically talking about the economy in Jamaica. That was long before all the problems that is in right now exist.
Mm-hmm.
And we figure more or less that if banks were failing at the time, it's time for us to start look for greener pastures. And Canada, we set our sights on Canada. And long story short, I migrated over back in August 12 in 2000. And, prior to coming here, I grew up in the tough inner city of Kingston, 11, Olympic Gardens. Attended Tivoli Gardens High School. And I came from an extended family. I grew up with my grandparents, lived in the same household. They instilled a good, healthy work ethics in me. And my mom had me at a time when she was a teenager, and she always instilled in me to escape poverty. One need to really try and get a good education.
Right.
And fortunate for me, I took those words literally, and I took her advice, and I tried my best in school, and it paid off.
So what were your early years growing up in the inner city like?
I tell people oftentimes, growing up in Kingston, 11, Olympic Gardens, it was like I had the best of both worlds. I was in Kingston, but I felt I was living in the country.
Oh.
Because my grandmother was from Manchester, and my grandfather was from St. Catherine, Guysville.
Okay.
And they brought with them the chickens and the goats. So as boys, I was one of 3 grandchildren they had at the time, and we had chores to do.
Right.
I attended Seaward all age before I went to Tivoli Gardens High School. So if I was on morning shift, we had to tend to the goats in the afternoon, and vice versa.
Oh.
We had to sweep the goat pens, change the chicken water, feed them, and all these things.
Yes.
So
you had responsibilities.
Absolutely. And some days you say to yourself, why? But not until I became an adult, I realized they were preparing me for adulthood by making sure I knew how to do things. My grandpa doing things around the yard that help him hold the fence, knock the board, do all sort of things.
Yes.
So it was like that for me.
Wow. You know what, Anthony, that and just listening to your story and even reading your bio, I can definitely relate to some of the liberty. Like you grew up in Kingston 11, I grew up in Kingston 13, you
Yes.
know, and something my mother always said to us, it's not where you live, but it's how you grow, right? And
Yes.
it really takes a person with a determination and drive to push beyond their circumstances, even when
Absolutely.
even when they're facing situations where young men are going to gun violence, and when young women are being impregnated at a young age.
Early age, yes.
Yes. What was your driving force to allow you to push and to do better for yourself, even though you grew up in such a harsh community?
You know, I must be honest. I think part of my journey and part of the success I have attained to really escape out of a tough community like Olympic Garden was me getting involved with the church early
Mhm.
because I was going down the wrong path.
Yes.
Oh,
Right? I had friends who were in bad companies. I hung out with them. I had girlfriends. But one night, you know, I happened to pass by a street meeting,
A crusade
and
or
those
something.
firebrand
Yes.
pastor preaching
yes.
about cinnamon and hellfire and all those things.
Fire and brimstone.
What? I don't want to face the fire and brimstone. So that led me to one of the church that you guys might have heard of, Errol Blair. He
Yes.
had a
Yes, yes,
church
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
in
Pastor Blair.
Yeah.
Steve Garden Deliverance Center. And that, I must tell everyone, kept me grounded.
Okay.
Going in the church,
Mhm.
I sang the choir for a bit.
Okay.
And it was just for me during that era of high school, Tambridge Come Library, church.
Yes,
Okay.
Tambourine come. Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
I do my thing. I look after my chores, the goat, the chicken, whatever it might be. And again, it's all over. It's a cycle. Church,
Mhm.
school, whatever. So it kept me out of problem. It
Mm-hmm.
kept me grounded. It kept me focused.
Mhm.
Right? I had some great teachers who
Mm-hmm.
believed in me, who saw the drive and the fire in me to really do good for myself. And they encouraged me, they encouraged me to excel beyond even the limits that I knew. I
Right.
give you to tell you a story. I remember when I first, because I did an entrance exam to get into Tivoli,
Mm-hmm.
and I passed the entrance exam. And I remember the guidance counselor or the coordinator for that new intake looked at me and said, "What do you want to do?" At that time, I had fallen in love with French Jamaican.
Oh.
I always wanted to be a cabinet maker.
Oh,
Not
nice.
as a kid, I was fascinated, very intrigued with how a person could take a piece of lumber and the carving and the shape of the legs. You know those furniture that
Yeah.
Jamaicans used to have in their house, the shape of the legs of the chair.
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
always wanted to be that furniture man who make all those things, right?
Oh, nice.
So she
Right.
said, "What is it that you want to do?" And I said, "I want to be a cabinet maker." She said, "You're crazy, boy. Go up to, go up to the business department. You're not going to waste your mom's money." And I'm like, okay, I could see myself the business after all, because my uncle at the time was an accountant. And I
Okay.
used to admire how he dressed dapper.
Mm-hmm.
His
Mhm.
shirt, white shirt, nice, the iron and the seam in his
Great.
pants.
Proper.
And oh,
Yes.
Proper.
exactly. So, so right away I made that mental shift. And like, I could do this.
Right.
And it set me off on a journey of self-discovery and personal interest. And I had a teacher who, she made the subject accounting so easy to me,
Mm-hmm.
and it became natural.
Mm.
Person would ask me back then, "What are you doing in school?" I told them I'm pursuing accounting and some other business subjects. They said, "You're crazy. When you get to depreciation, you're gonna basically be driven out of your mind." And to
Mm.
tell you the truth, that was one of my best topic
Oh.
in the accounting, because I didn't. I think of a mindset. I easily accept what is to be,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't question and I don't read too much. And people could not grasp the reducing balance method or the straight line method of doing accounting, especially depreciation. So they struggle with the concept, but I somehow accept that this is a formula, this is how they apply to do certain things. So it was easy for me.
Right.
So I did well. This is grade 12, grade 11, grade 12, whatever the last year. I don't remember now, so long ago, forgive me. Right? But I remember doing those business subjects, learning about a business club junior achievement.
Okay.
And I got invited by my friends to go. And I'm there listening. I'm like, okay, I'm going to be involved with this club because I need to get involved with something in school, right? I was also trying for Manning Cup. So my mom always wanted me to do something academic apart from sports. So I said, okay, let me try and do the club because it could be a great learning experience, something practical that I could apply to the theory I'm learning in the classroom.
Right.
So I attended this club and I remember this girl, a good friend of mine, Karen. I remember Karen stood up. I beg to nominate Anthony Plummer as president of Junior Achievement. And it's like a landslide victory. Everyone hand up. It's finished.
Yes.
I was the president.
Yeah.
Right? And it set us off on an amazing journey because we started the club with 34 members. Junior Achievement Club, for those of you who don't know, is really a business club, real life business. Sell shares. Everyone buy a share, say for $5, have a stake in the company. Raise capital, right? And we use that money now to fund different business venture. Our business venture at the time was to make dish racks, dish trainers, we call them, right? But these are made out of strips of wood. We got all these scraps of wood in the woodwork department. We made them. This guy, Dennis Rose, don't forget him. Today we're still good friends. He came with the idea. So we cut these and we varnished them after we finished, sand them down, and they went like hot bread.
Right.
Everyone wanted one of these, and because they were all nicely stained, varnished, and they really look fun. And then they put little hooks on the sides. They could put the teacups on it and the plate in the middle.
Yes.
So we won. We won. There are about 16 to 18 schools from across the corporate area who were involved in junior achievement at the time. And our school came out, Tigardens, kind of put up the name Tivoli. Tigardens came out to be the most outstanding production thing. We cleaned up. We won several trophies.
Amazing.
And it's so important to bet on yourself. The consultant who was assigned to us thought we weren't going anywhere. The guy did not fill in the paperwork. And as such, we did not win the overall competition to go to Atlanta that year of the International Junior Achievement Program. But nevertheless, it was a great experience. And what it did for me, it ignited that passion for business, which later on in life would serve me well. Right? So the leadership there I got from that experience, me being focused because I was distracted by guys and girls, just my club and church and whatever. I did well until strategy kind of struck somewhat. But every time the devil tried to do something for bad, God always have a way of making it work out in the end. So 1988, it was Christmas. You know, Christmas in Jamaica is a big excitement. People have lots of food and merrymaking and trips and all of that.
Yes. The festivities.
Yes. So I went on a church trip, New Year's Day, January 1st, 1988, to the church trip. And I was there fellowshipping with all my brethren and sisters, and I'm eating all kind of different food, fried chicken, pork. I eat about 1,000,001 different dish. Came back, I got sick. At the time, looking back, I'm like, how is it I'm feeling so awful?
Yes.
So my mom took me to the doctor. The lady looked at me and she said, you have gas. I'm like, me?
Watcha.
Everybody have gas.
Even good like me have gas. Nevertheless, you know, she's a doctor. She was so mean because she was working a triple shift at Kingston Public Hospital. So we hear people dying there and all kind of problem. It's a long time those things happening. But God was in my vessel. So she sent me home. I'm drinking all kind of gas related porridge, tea, cream soda, crackers, you name it. But my condition kept on getting worse and worse. So what happened really, I reached a point where I couldn't move.
Oh, wow.
And my grandpa got so angry at my mom and after she said I was going to die, take him back. And that same day she rushed me to the hospital. They had emergency surgery on me. And I ended up spending 4 weeks in the hospital.
Oh, wow.
And 1 week at home because they said either my appendix got burst on the table or when they were prepping me down in the emergency room to go to emergency surgery. And because of all of that, it almost poisoned my organs. They gave me so much antibiotics that today I'm allergic to penicillin.
Wow. Look at that.
Yeah, I'm telling you. But being in the hospital, I had good classmates because Tivoli, as you know, Shan, you basically could walk from Industrial Terrace through Tivoli Gardens and go down to Parade, just Kingston, Jamaica, downtown, is not too far from where the hospital is. So my classmates would take turn and they would get carbon paper back then and put between their note paper.
Oh, wow.
And they would write notes.
Yeah,
and they would take turn and bring all these notes. And I said to my mom, because I was preparing for CXC exams, I said to my mom to bring my textbook. And she brought my books while I was there in the hospital. And I sit up in my bed and I would work and I would read the notes and I would do some work on my, and you know. And because the principal, the acting principal at the time, because Jeanette Grant William was the principal, and Mrs. Hamilton was the acting principal, because Jeanette Grant William was in politics at the time, so she was not there. They said, no, don't worry, they're going to give me a chance to repeat the year. But because I already paid for CXC exams, CXC is now in June, and this is January.
Okay.
And missing all of January into February, they were concerned that I missed so much school. But one teacher was a department head for business, Mrs. Copeland. I won't forget her name. She called me and she said, Plummer, what do you have to lose? Yes, you have the repeat, but you paid for the exams already. Might as well give it a shot. You never know. Some year the exams are tougher than some.
Right.
Give it a go. So I wrote 3 exams. I did principal of business, accounting, English, social study, and math. I passed accounting, social studies. No, I passed accounting, English, and principal of business, and I failed math and social studies. So I only had 2 subjects to do during the year I repeat, which I did it over. Yeah. And I passed them. Right? Now, here I'm finished now. This is 1989 now. I'm finished. I'm looking to go off to Exeter Community College because I applied and I got in. I'm going to pursue accounting. But before I go off, I must tell you that year 89, there was an exchange program to come to Canada for 1 year, BC.
Okay.
And I got a chance to interview for the program. And I was successful. Excited. Dad bought because my father was living in the States at the time in Philadelphia, bought me winter gears and all kind of things because I'm going to go to BC to learn French, immerse in French for 1 year, and I'm getting ready.
Right.
So what they have to do now, they have to match you with a family.
Okay.
Family, similar to your family. So they scheduled an interview where they came to my home in Olympic Gardens.
Oh, wow. So they
everybody.
came. Yes.
Talk to everybody, see my home set up. And they asked my grandpa the question I'm telling you, like I remember it like yesterday. How do you feel about your grandson going overseas? And he shared to them that he doesn't feel in a way because his aunt live up there in Toronto.
Okay.
He said, despite it wasn't in BC she lived, it's Toronto, and that made me ineligible. Because what they were fearful of me not returning home after the year. And I was broken. I was devastated.
Wow.
Right? But I can look back at it now and I can smile.
Right.
Because I'm home now, you know, They refund whatever money they could refund, but I still have some stuff that I bought already, getting ready to go overseas. Somewhat broken about the whole the thing being cancelled. One of my former teachers came to Olympic Garden and called me. When I heard the guy call me, I said, I recognize the voice. That's Mr. Brown. Rushed out, thinking that they found a way to get him to go. I said, what happened? The scholarship was back on. They said, no, forget about that. Mrs. Williamson called you. The principal called me. So I got ready. I went with them. I went down to see her. She said to me that they're short of business teachers. If I would be interested in teaching.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Me? Wow. She said, yeah, your teachers recommend you. So you're mature beyond your years. Wow. They have the respect that you can do a good job. You want to teach accounting and teach principle of business for this year. And I signed on. Oh, wow. And it opened up the world of teaching for me. And I guess I did well. My now colleague, but my former teachers, I said, Plummer, we think you should go to CAST. So where is a CAST? College of Arts, Science and Technology.
Right.
It's now changed to UTech.
Right.
And I said, I don't have the money. She said, no, man, do the Tech Ed program. Tech Ed is a teacher education, short, and I call it Tech Ed. So Tech Ed, it's like $500 or some minuscule amount looking back now. And what caught my attention, they said, and they pay you to come to them. So what? They pay me.
Okay.
Which is true. Because what happened was Canada and Jamaica had a program to train more business teachers. They were incentivizing the program where you paid like say $500 and by the time the year finished, you get back $900. So you have net $400, right? So I signed up and I went to class. I met some amazing persons. I met a guy by the name of Bernard Lee. I won't make the connection. And, spent 3 years there at CAS pursuing a teacher diploma. And I graduated back in 93. And because, again, I was in football, I had a surgery, I could not anymore play, right? I decided to go in management. In 1989, whilst I was a pre-trained teacher at Tivoli, I also started to volunteer in my community of Olympic Gardens as assistant secretary.
Okay.
And I stayed with that club.
Of the football club?
Yes. Okay. I stayed with that club because I recognized that all of these things I was learning in theory, I could now put them to good use by being involved in something. And I say to any young persons, if you want to get experience, one of the best way to get experience, if you can get that break in private organization, is to volunteer. I volunteered and I brought a certain level of passion and commitment to that club. I start writing letters left, right, and center. And again, looking back, that experience served me well when I came to Canada. A company by the name of Tankwell Metals.
Yes.
At the corner of Seaward Drive in Kingston there, replied to us and they sent us a cooler in 1989 and I set up jerseys for the players. A guy by the name of Bruce Bicknell, white guy, former champion, squash player, had nothing to do with sports, but he saw the passion in the letter I wrote him and me beseeching him to help us. And I kept in touch with him. And every time the team would do well, I would cut out the articles and I would send them to him and I would request a meeting of him and he would give us a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And I can tell you guys, in Olympic Gardens Football Club, I served over the years from assistant secretary to secretary treasurer. And then the same guy, Bruce Bittner, said, Plummer, if you take over as president, I have a confidence that you will do a good job and I'll put the money behind the team so that you guys don't have to worry about funds. And in 1998, Bruce Bittner gave us 2.1 million Jamaican dollars to run that football club. This is the same football club that entertainer Admiral Bailey was the coach of.
Okay.
And if you guys know anything about the Reggae Boys back in the day,
yes.
Ian Pepe Goodison came for Olympic Gardens Football Club. He also went to Tivoli. So I was the president back then.
Oh wow.
And we had a football team, a semi-pro football team on the same par of Arnett Gardens, Waterhouse, Harborview. So we did well.
Right.
Yes.
But you know, all good things must come to an end. So in 2099, I resigned, and I wanted a change. I wanted a break. So I decided, this is when I said that the economy was showing some signs. Banks started to fail in the 90s. International Bank failed, Eagle Permanent Building Society, Workers Bank. And, you know, just talking with friends, I realized that if banks could fail, there's no matter the time other companies are going to start to fail because of the financial climate at the time. So I started to look for better.
Yes.
I migrated and I came overseas.
Okay, which leads us, that you sound like you've gone through a lot in Jamaica, Anthony, right? And you really had some really positive people pushing you and speaking life into you, which is amazing, right? You need people like that around you, right? And that segues into our next question. How was that transition for you in Canada? How was that?
So fam, we're gonna leave it here for today. I'm sure you've been blessed by Anthony's story and his journey so far. And we're going to pick it up again next time when we hear so much more about Anthony and the JerkFest and just how he has pushed through all the obstacles and achieved the success that he has to date. 20 years of JerkFest this year, fam. We look forward to seeing you next time when we hear so much more about it.